Hi, and welcome back to A Filthy Talk. We are coming at you live from A Filthy Lot Studios. I'm Trevor Gemma, and again, I'm Trevor Gemma again, which is a relief. It's nice. It was fun to be someone else for a minute, but this is more comfortable, and I'm also far closer to sober. I'm not completely sober, but whatever. That's just not the nature of the show. So anyway, welcome to another Filthy Talk, and joining me today, I'm going to go this way first. We have Jacquelyn's son, who is our... What?
What was that?
Sounded like somebody just shouted to us offset. Yeah, whatever. And Jacquelyn is our marketing manager. I had to check. I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know why. Look it up. Eventually our website will be live and you can see it. It's coming soon. And to my right, we have Jamie Gummo, who is our HR manager, joining us for the first time. Thank you for being here. And to her right, Lala McQueen, who is our co-key makeup and hair and makeup effects and creature design and you saw Lala briefly on our first Filthy Talk. She just jumped on set, jumped off. But now you're here for real. Woo! Mic'd up and everything. And of course, and here still, and well, not here always, but he's here this time, Ryan White as fact checker and chat liaison. So say hi to him in the chat, and he'll, he's your through line to us if you want to say something. So yeah. So welcome everyone, and as you've probably seen by now, we kick things off with what are you drinking? Starting with Lala.
Clippers Organic Untangled Cider. And it's dry and delicious.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, are you a cider drinker?
I am, because I'm celiac, so if I have beer, I have to miss work.
Nice.
Day off.
I am also drinking the Clippers Organic Untangled Cider. It's quite a mouthful. And I am celiac adjacent. Ever since I moved to Vancouver, I've been getting like hives and other things I won't say on TV. But yeah, so I don't drink beer anymore.
Oh.
It is dry and delicious, I would concur. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is my first time trying it. I know people were drinking it last week, from what I can barely remember. But yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know if there's something wrong with our carbonation. It's very flat. Like it's not so bubbly, even though it was coming out real bubbly.
It's had a hard day.
But it goes
So
down
good.
real smooth.
Yeah.
Like this is a dangerously easy drinking cider.
It's chuggable.
Yeah. And Jacquelyn, what about
I am drinking coconut water today.
Ooh.
Normally, I am an alcohol enthusiast, but I have a few health issues right now flaring up, so I'm taking a little break from the alcohol.
Smart.
Nice on you.
Yeah.
I do miss it, though.
Self-care. What's your typical poison?
Wine. I'm usually a white wine, kind of Sauv Blanc kind of gal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. I like I like white in the summer, and I tend to go to red most of the year.
Yeah.
It's really hot.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like red in the winter time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially mold.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Craving it now.
What are you drinking?
I am also drinking the Clippers Organic Untangled Cider.
Ah.
But I will say, I've noticed that there's sort of two schools of cider. There's cider that tastes like cider, and there's cider that feels like they're trying to make it taste like beer. This is a beery cider.
You think this is beery?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of like a, I don't know what it is, but like there's something in it that's vaguely
Oh.
of beer. Yeah, you get that?
It might be hopped. Notice they
Yeah.
started hopping cider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
And
can't they just leave the ciders flat on the ground? They don't need to pop.
Oh, but bump.
Yeah.
That's okay. So, before we get into what we're fully talking about, but this is kind of tied in, you may have noticed the set looks a little bit different. Like all of this and all of this. And there's a reason for that, and it's that today we shot the first episode of A Filthy Pasta. And Lala is one half of the co-creator for that.
1/3.
One third?
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. Oh, I thought Sarah was coming in as like segment producer with you guys, but it was a mind creation of you and Brendan?
It was, and then it's become about all of us.
Sweet.
So everyone's contributing, and it's all about spooky stories. There's true crime. There's creepypasta. there's folklore, there's urban legends and horror and that whole genre, and it's so much fun. And we eat delicious themed pasta while we're doing it.
Sweet. Yeah, I happen to have been lucky enough to be the first guest, so thank you for that. That was a lot of fun today.
Yeah, it was.
And that, if all things go according to plan, you'll be able to see that on Halloween, as we will be calling it around here. So leading up to Halloween, starting with, again, if all things go well and we meet all of our post goals, as far as post-production goes and everything we're making here, then we'll be releasing all of our Halloween content over that Halloween. So yeah, and Halloween this year is on a Saturday, and it's a blue moon, and of course it's canceled, so great. So in the spirit of all of this, we are talking about some sort of, what's the word, intangible ideas. Everything from luck to karma to blah, blah, blah. Help me out here. Superstition, yeah, and belief and all that kind of thing. And another reason being that it is our 13th episode. So, you know, lucky number 13, or is it unlucky? Or is luck a real thing? I don't know. Let's start off with that. Do you guys believe in luck?
I believe in creating your own luck. So I feel like everything does happen for a reason, but we also have the power to like manifest what we want. And I'm a huge believer in like the law of attraction. So I feel like whatever type of energy you put out into the world, you're gonna receive that back. Like, you know, the saying like, you can't live a positive life with a negative mind. I feel like that really speaks to me. So that's kind of my stance on it. I feel like if you are putting out positive energy into the world, then you will be a quote unquote more lucky person.
That whole front to back statement, I was like triggering moments of things I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so funny because like everything about like energy. I had a thing about, first of all, I mean, I always refer to luck. I don't know whether I believe in it because belief is a strong word and has to do with like sort of an energy that you're putting towards something.
Yeah.
But I often refer to something as luck, like, oh, that was lucky, or ooh, I'm feeling lucky, or something like that. But I don't know what that is. And I think that like cause and effect is a very quantifiable thing from like a scientific standpoint. You can see in physics, like if you exert a force on something, what that force does to the other thing. And even on an emotional level, we can see like if I've been mean to someone, then they're going to be mean back to me, or they're going to do something, even if unknowingly, if I've unintentionally hurt somebody, there might be a cause and effect to my actions coming back and being like a reciprocal action that will happen to me. So why not that on an energetic level? Like as you're saying, whatever you put out there, come back. I mean, the problem is it's not really quantifiable, so it's harder for us to understand, and then it comes down to a belief thing.
Yeah, just psychoscience, right? I think it's really interesting because when you said it's our 13th episode, I was like, oh my God, that's my lucky number. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, it's not really about luck either. I think that just hearing so many people over the years talking about how afraid they are of 13, like my dad would tell me, you know, like there's no 13th floor in his building growing up and all of this stuff, right? And so I think out of a fear response, I claimed 13 as my own. And I was like, this is gonna save me, it's gonna protect me. And I had so many of these like rituals that I took part in as a kid so that I wouldn't be afraid. You know, if I like walked over the bed 3 times before I went into it, then no goblins would live under it or whatever, right? So it's just like, I was thinking about that when you were saying it was the 13th episode. And yeah, it is a lucky number to me. I choose it. To maybe take away its power in some way.
And I didn't know that before I asked you to come on.
Yeah, rad.
No, that's cool what you're saying about. I mean, I do feel like positive intention or prayer or spell work or any of that kind of stuff is just a manifestation of what we want.
Yes.
And so, hearkening back to what Jacquelyn was saying, that like you reap what you sow out of life, and your attitude and your intentions, and you manifest what happens to you. So I mean, is that luck, or is that what you've put out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I mean, there's no answers is the thing about this. There's only, I mean, I guess because it's something that's so obscure, there hasn't been too much study into actually trying to understand that because it seems, and that's the funny thing is it's sort of a label that goes with it. But it comes down to a belief, because if you believe in like the universe or whatever, then people tend to look down on that kind of spirituality, which essentially it is just spirituality. Do you want, yeah?
So one actual sciencey thing that I'm gonna butcher. I'm gonna get this so wrong. So maybe our actual scientists in the chat can point me in the direction of the actual study. But there was an actual like scientific controlled study where they put people in 2 separated rooms, and like they were wearing these like headsets that monitored brain electrical activity, but they weren't connected. There was something to do, oh God, I'm getting this so wrong. There was something to do with like flashing lights and being able to tell in the other room if the lights were flashing in like the other person's headset.
Oh,
basically like
telepathic link kind of
yeah,
thing?
what they established is that there was an ability for information to be transmitted like without any direct information transmission mechanism. I'm literally butchering this so hard.
That's okay.
But
I mean,
like,
it's fascinating.
there
even as
is,
a
I
thought.
think, some scientific basis for the notion that like, energy in the universe is a thing.
Well, I mean, we know energy is a thing. Like, we know that energy and force is a thing. So, but when you try to get into adding any kind of emotion to energy, then people look down on it, even though unless take these boxes that exist, be they Christianity or Judaism or whatever, enough people buy into it that you're not going to be judged if that's your belief system.
Yeah.
And yet, if you're into just like, I don't know, I just think that there's some kind of energy transfer between people or the world or the universe, then people are like, oh yeah, okay, hippie. But
That's
like, why?
crazy.
Like, why is that different? Why is one wild belief system different than the other? Like, they're both non-tangible.
Right?
So
Yeah.
what the hell?
I've been doing a little bit of research on that stuff lately because I'm like super into like meditation and all that kind of stuff. And I've been recently learning from this doctor called Dr. Joe Dispenza. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of him, but he's kind of like a neuroscientist, I think is what he calls himself. But he actually has like scientific proof like showing different energies and like how your brain waves change once you start to change your mindset.
Oh, yeah.
So basically what he does is he teaches people how to transform their mind so that they can heal their bodies of like physical diseases or even like mental things like depression or whatever. Because his story is that he was in a car accident. Doctors told him that he was going to be paralyzed unless he gets the surgery. He doesn't want to get the surgery. He's like, I'm just going to heal myself. So he basically changed his mindset, did this on himself, and he's like totally normal now. And he like speaks to thousands, if not millions of people about this method of basically just rewiring your mind. And the main thing that I've learned is that he teaches you how to feel the emotions of what you want in your life and practice that, and then eventually your reality will match your emotions and your perception.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, I think that it all kind of is the same thing. Like, whether you believe in a God that you can't see, that's in the heavens, that's watching all the time and judging you, and heaven and hell, whatever, and your energy and belief and intent goes into prayer and a higher power that you are just kind of surrendering to, or you're performing rituals of walking across the bed, or it's just like any little thing that you have to do, any ritual that you're doing that you believe is going to affect the outcome of the thing that's about to happen.
Yeah.
That it's all just energy and intent. So I think it's all the same thing.
And it all
yet
comes from-
we
Totally.
kill each other over the differences.
It all comes from the same place inside us.
Yeah.
Your belief is like a warm blanket. It's
Yeah.
what is intrinsic in you. And anything you need to do in order to like manifest that, I mean, it's comforting.
Yeah, I would say for me, last year I had a really, really tough time with some mental health stuff that I just let, build up for 35 years. And I've had this emptiness inside me probably forever that I always thought was a lack of spirituality. And my parents would tell you, if they're watching, I would sneak off and join churches, all different churches. And I did it right up until probably about 10 years ago. Because I was just
It's like a free version of religious study.
Right? I was I just wanted to be in the choir. I wanted to sing, but I just kept looking for something that I didn't realize was probably more inside me. And that's when I started turning to, I know when you stayed at my house, you're like, are you a witch? Crystals everywhere. And it's, you know what? I did my undergrad in psychology, and my logical brain just goes to, is it a mindset? Is it a manifestation? Or all those bits and pieces. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I think it is. It's your beliefs just support you. They just hold you through. And, I think I'm a very big fan of the internal locus of control. But when when you lose that control for whatever it is, mental health, stress, too many drinks, whatever it is, that faith that there's something that can support you through, I don't care if it's real or not. It just made me feel better. And I've gotten through some really dark times with my crystals, I'm not going to lie.
And that's no different than people who find solace in the church.
Yeah,
right?
it's the same.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Totally.
It really is. It's just a matter of where you focus your energy.
And what provides that comfort.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't like paying a tithe when you have to go to church. Ryan, your hand up.
Some I want to mention based on what Jacquelyn was saying about the doctor.
Joe Dispenza.
Is another fellow named Wim Hof, who developed the Wim Hof Breathing.
Oh, I've heard of this guy
Really
who can
interesting
stay
story.
in hypothermia.
Yeah, he's called the Iceman. He
conditions.
basically developed this breathing and meditation technique where he can basically make his body just immune to cold. He's literally been encased in a block of ice for hours at a time.
Yeah.
He went up Mount Everest in shorts and nothing else. But the thing that was really interesting is he taught his breathing method to a group at a controlled hospital in Croatia or somewhere basically. And then the people in the hospital were intentionally infected with a common cold virus. And based on this breathing methodology, they were able to cure themselves of the common cold.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah, in a controlled scientific environment. It was just based on this breathing and meditation technique. It was just I'm not sick anymore.
Well, and I think that's just focusing energy and focusing belief. Yeah. And belief is powerful. Regardless of what you believe in, it's how much you can commit to it. If you doubt yourself, I guess it all comes down to positive and negative energy or positive and negative mindset. And the placebo effect is a very real and measurable thing.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, where when they do tests with placebos, and the people who believe, the more they believe that what their treatment, whether it's an injection of saline or a sugar pill or whatever, the more they buy into it, the stronger the effect it has on them.
Totally.
And actually, even though there's nothing that should be changing anything, there's no actual medication involved, they get better. And it's a crazy thing. And it's
Power of the mind.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that should be the gateway for more studies to be done of this kind of thing, because I think a lot more of it is measurable and is quantifiable and something that we could gain a further understanding of.
Yeah. Damn ethics.
And I feel even if it's a placebo effect, whatever you're doing, if it's having a positive impact on your life, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Why not
doesn't matter.
keep doing it? Because I've actually been doing this other thing. I've been reading this book called The Emotion Code. Have you read it?
I did an emotion code with a medium.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's crazy.
So it's by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he talks about how our bodies have an electromagnetic field. So it's magnet healing. So basically he has this chart of different negative emotions that you could trap in your body. So they haven't been released, anger, bitterness, stuff like that. And when you trap it in your body, it can manifest into bad things later, health issues or diseases and things like that. So basically he teaches you how to do these muscle tests on your body, where your body subconsciously tells you the answer. So you ask your body which emotion do I have trapped, and your body answers. You do these things with your fingers and your arms or whatever.
Yeah, the one where there's the resistance.
Yeah,
thing,
exactly.
It's weaker or you
exactly,
resist.
yeah.
I've done that.
And then once you figure out what the emotion is, you take the magnet, you run it through your meridian line, which is like a line in acupuncture, and it's like, you know, does all this stuff for your body, and you run it over your head, down your neck, and then it's released. And like, some people might think it's crazy. It's like, because you can't see it, like it's intangible, right? But I was like, why not give it a try? And I tried it, and like literally the next day I felt like different. Like I felt like something was lifted off of me.
Nice.
And I've done it for like a friend, because she didn't want to do it herself. So I was like, I'll just do it for you. Like, you know, I'll pretend I'm you or be you. And then she was like, she felt a knot release in her stomach, like right away.
Cool.
And I was like, that is so weird, but so cool.
I had a similar experience. I did an emotional release. I did it over the phone with someone who I'd only ever spoken with once or twice, and she went through, like, from the time of birth, like actually before, when I was in utero, emotions that got trapped, and then at, like, significant ages, and there were some really, like, I would say creepy, because like part of you doesn't want to believe this stuff because it explodes your brain, but at the same time it's also comforting. But she would go through, and her name is Erin, and she lives on Vancouver Island. I will let people know, but I know Sarah did a reading with her for her birthday. But she's really powerful, and she knew when I had moved and like had to start all over, and she's like, you had a fear of you had a sense of abandonment here, and like I did feel different. And so I don't know if it was just somebody seeing me, you know, through this lens, but I felt healed. I felt ready to take on a whole new kind of approach to my life, and it was super powerful. And I really don't even care if it's real or if it's placebo, because it works for me. So whatever.
If you get results, then yeah, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
That's cool.
So, okay, something you said earlier,
Yes.
you mentioned everything happening for a reason. So part of what I want to talk about was fate.
Okay.
And fate is a tricky thing, because if fate or destiny are real, then there is no luck, there is no karma, because everything was predetermined. Like the idea of like a grand design.
Yeah.
Right? Like then everything, like if everything happens, I mean, things happening for a reason, and being able to, like if say there's a multiverse or parallel dimensions, parallel universes, where every choice splits into different directions, then I could see things happening for a reason, and those are like pivot points, essentially, where you're then splitting and constantly. But if fate is a thing, then it negates all of this stuff. Like it means that none of it is real.
No.
Except for fate. Fate will
And
be
we have no
all-powerful.
control.
Yeah.
Time for your existential crisis.
Yeah.
Mahalo. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I guess my opinion or belief on fate is a little bit loose. Like I feel like things do happen for a reason, but we still have free will. So I see life kind of as like a choose your own adventure, and it's like those things can be placed in front of you, but if you don't take initiative and take it, it's not going to be handed to you. So like it could have, it's like in front of you for a reason, and you could go for it, but if you choose not to, then your life will turn out a different way. That's kind of how I see it.
That's not fate.
I guess it's a different variation.
I'm not sure what the term for that would be, but yeah, I think fate is used a lot or destiny is used a lot, and I think in the wrong way.
Yeah, maybe.
Because it kind of means
Probably.
predetermined.
It does, yeah.
Well, that would be like all the tenets of fortune telling then, like tarot and palmistry and scrying. It would be like, this is laid out for you. This is what's been predetermined. You can choose to accept it, or you can choose to change it.
Yeah, and that's something. So okay, I used to have a fear of tarot.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. I think part of that came from like the only people who were into it when I was a lot younger were idiots, and I was just like,
I'll bring mine in.
see, I would trust you.
Oh, good.
I was like, they're like, oh, you want a reading from? And I was like, you get like straight C's.
That's a deck of playing cards.
So
the ace of meme.
and I worry about if you have this. I mean, you wanted to talk about astrology,
Yes.
and we'll get into that for sure. But part of it is when it ties into the power of belief, and if you're given a prophecy, I worry that not that it's bad luck, but that it becomes self-fulfilling. That it's something you can fixate on, and it's in the back of your head, and it might overwrite anything. because you're like, oh, that person one time told me that this is a thing that might happen, so you're now looking for it.
Or is it something you can do everything in your power to prevent because you have the knowledge that that's a possibility?
So yeah, I dig on that.
Yeah.
It's just like, it might be the kind of thing that it might never become an issue until someone suggests it. The power of suggestion is really strong.
Totally.
Like really.
Especially for people like us.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm like, yep.
No,
okay.
that's true. But like, I mean, I don't want to spoil that, but there was a story you told earlier in the first episode of Filthy Pasta.
Yeah.
But it had to do with someone who gets a reading from a medium.
Yes.
And then they really ran with it.
That is true.
Like it kind of dictates their life.
Yep.
And I guess that was the thing that I feared when it came to tarot cards was if someone who doesn't know what they're doing with something that I might buy into very largely, this person could fuck up my entire life because they don't understand what they're playing with. And it's not even that these cards necessarily are tapped into some sort of actual power, but that the person hearing the story might receive it and that power of suggestion might alter their life. And so I stayed away from them for the longest time. And then right before the pandemic hit, I split a deck and I got a card, and it's the same. I hadn't done it since I was a teenager, and it was the same card, and it was the Tower.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and it had to do with rebuilding from like everything falling apart and rebuilding from the ashes.
Was it upright or reversed?
Upright.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know what that means.
Damn.
But I read a bit about it, and I was just like, oh, okay. But it also had to do with surrendering to that.
Absolutely.
And then a freaking pandemic hit.
It's about being
like-
decimated and rebuilding.
Yeah. And that's what we had to do here.
Yeah.
So I was like, is there really something to this? Like, I'm still like, when it comes to tarot. But, so, astrology.
Well, I'm not super into tarot cards. I'm more into like oracle cards. My best friend is like super into that, and she does a lot of readings and stuff.
So I know of those, but what's the difference?
Oracle cards, my interpretation is that I feel like it's like different people's interpretations of things, like of spirituality and things that you might need to know. So it's not like, because tarot is like the same, like because it's created by like, you know, the same person. And I'm not really like an expert on this, so don't quote me, but that's kind of my thoughts on it. But I like oracle cards because I find that they give me more of a positive energy, because I just feel like, to me, I don't know, like tarot seems a little bit darker, and I feel like if you're not ready to face those things, then you might take it the wrong way. But for me, when I'm like doing anything like that, I feel like I really go to people that I trust. Like I wouldn't get a reading from someone that I don't know, or, you know, because I find that I want to know positive things, and I'm someone who's very easily influenced. So if someone tells me something negative, I'm gonna keep thinking about it like every night before bed. So I don't want that.
So that when it comes to astrology, that's why I stay away from, like for some reason I lend a lot more credence to something like you asked for our date of birth, time of day, and all that stuff, and like as far as a star chart goes. And I'm like, there seems to be a little bit more into the equation here and a little more specificity. Whereas like daily horoscopes, I just, nope, no, that's bullshit. Like there's no way, there's 7 billion people in the world, and you're telling me that just because how many of those are all born in the same day? There's only 365 days in a year, so the division of that, you're gonna tell me that every single one of those people all has the same story? There's no way.
Well, you got to make it relatable. So.
Yeah, it's so general.
It
Like
is.
I don't
It's
really
super
look into that.
generalized.
Yeah.
And I just kind of push those aside. But I'm interested when there's more specificity, when it comes to, because it also seems to have, as far as a transfer of energy goes, if you're looking at even the sun and our relation to it, and it's a huge power, right? Like if that's just the closest star we have, but all of the stars and their arrangement in the galaxy and in the universe, there is actual, like even just gravity is something that's affecting it, and because they are shifting through space constantly, maybe there is a big difference. But then, does it tie into fate, or is it just that it has some sort of pull in the moment?
The way I see astrology is that it's not like a black and white thing. I feel like you can predict like opportunities or cycles or patterns in like your lives or in like the general life of the world, but I don't feel like it's like the be all end all. Like I don't think that just because if an astrologer tells you that this thing is going to happen, it's going to happen for sure. I don't feel like that's how you use it. Or the reason I really enjoy astrology mainly is because I like learning about different personalities. And I feel like it helps me learn how to communicate with different personalities better, to learn what my own triggers are, what my own like strengths and weaknesses are. And I feel like when I know someone's chart, like if it's someone like my friend or something, I'm like, okay, I understand. Like this thing will probably trigger this person if, you know, I do that. So it just kind of helps me have better relationships.
That's cool.
It's like like union in a way, right? Like there is just like an element of it. It's like funny as like an HR professional, obviously I use all of those types of tools and stuff, and I would say I would echo that sentiment completely. It's like when you know what you're dealing with, it's like, oh, you're a Gemini. Okay, great.
See,
You're a Gemini.
sorry, I am a Gemini. But
I know you are.
That's one of the things
Yeah, you
that also drives me away from buying into horoscopes is because I've found the majority of people I've come across, they're like, what's your sign? And I go, I don't know. Because the ones I have told, like, I'm a Gemini, they go, oh, you're a Gemini. And what the fuck? Are you seriously telling me that you don't know me? You just met me, and you're gonna have complete preconceptions of who I am as a person based on that? Like, fuck off.
I would have
Right
never
off.
pegged you a Gemini though, by the way.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I have you fooled.
Yeah.
Like most Geminis.
What?
Nothing.
But after I found out your chart, it made so much sense to me because I knew you were a Gemini and I was like, you're a very nice Gemini.
Yeah.
Like, because if you want me to get into it.
Sure.
So,
I mean, I don't buy into it.
yeah, no, it's all good. But you can tell me if this is correct or not because I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So everyone has a moon sign, and your moon sign is how your emotions are and how you are when you're like upset, angry. And your moon is in Pisces, and I love that because I'm a Pisces sun, so very relatable. Pisces are very emotional people, I would say. Very emotional, sometimes too forgiving. They're a mutable sign, meaning that they are very easily influenced, flexible. I would say that they can kind of get along with everyone. Very creative sign. So when you're emotional, or yeah, when you're like upset, you might act like that way a little bit more.
Interesting.
I also noticed that your rising sign is a Libra. So rising sign is how you portray yourself to the world. How, like, first impressions. Libra's a really good rising sign because Libras are generally very accommodating. They like to keep the harmony. They like to keep the balance. They...
Earth green.
So yeah, they love like, Libras love romance. They love like aesthetics. They love like things to look nice. They're also an air sign. So Geminis and Libras are both air signs, very good at communicating, witty. I can see that, like how you enjoy writing the captions and stuff for YouTube. I was like, it's because you're an air sign.
I don't know. I think that's because I'm a quick thinking comedic person.
Yeah. That's
I don't know how much of that ties into what my sign is.
Totally.
But that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
I think some of what you say is true, but I also worry that like all of the stuff, when it comes to descriptors, it's also general and also vague. That
For sure.
It's like I've read through like specific ones before that get down to the day and everything, and I'm like, okay, this applies, this applies, this doesn't, this doesn't, this doesn't, this doesn't, this applies. But like, if both of those, two of the signs that are in my chart or whatever are air, I've always drawn the most energy from earth and nature and trees and dirt and like hills, as opposed to the air itself. And the other element that I find I connect with is fire. I hate the water. I drowned when I was 3.
More on that.
I was dead for a minute, but whatever.
No big deal.
But yeah, the water and then air, sure. But I mean, I'm a very earth person.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But the Pisces thing is very obviously a water sign.
Yeah.
So
I'm a water sign and I hate water too.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't like I don't know, I have a fear of water, but I like
Yeah.
being by the beach. So I don't know, I haven't really related the elements too much to what like we enjoy in life. I think that's
It's not a literal
Yeah, it's
translation
not-
that you like
yeah.
the water or not.
Sure.
No,
It's
I'm also
more about maybe your fluidity,
That's what
or like maybe that
Totally.
your ideas can be changeable, or that you can be more open to the experience of life.
adaptability, right? You can
Yeah.
freeze or evaporate.
And water's very strong. Water can erode rocks. Water can change the landscape
In a
It can
soft
in
flow,
a gentle way.
or it can crash.
Yeah.
That's a Bruce Lee quote. But
And I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the signs. Like there's a lot of similarities. So we're all kind of similar in a certain way, but it's like, I think once you get really into it, because I'm such a nerd about it, then I can see the differences in the similarities, but it's because I'm nitpicking and I'm being analytical.
But do you think because you know that stuff that you're then looking for it?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think in a way, yes, I am looking for it, but I also just notice it. Like even, I feel like even sometimes when I don't know someone's sign, I kind of can guess what they are, and then when I see their chart,
Oh, we should put that to the test.
I'm like, I'm not like always very good at it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. I've only just met you. This is so hard.
Well, who do you know? I mean, you know Ryan pretty well.
I know his chart. I asked him his chart.
She got that
But
info.
I actually guessed that James was a Leo Mercury today. But
Rising, yeah.
maybe if I ask you a few more questions. But how
Whatever you like.
do you usually like to think things through before you do them, or are you pretty spontaneous?
I like to think things through.
I like to think things through. Are you a logical person?
I try.
So no.
I guess.
So no.
We all.
I try so
And I'm guessing
hard.
you know your full chart. Would you say you're more water dominant? Like, do you have water in your chart?
No.
No. Interesting.
So, this is starting to feel like a cold read. Are you guys familiar with cold reading?
No.
So cold reading is like those those TV personalities that like claim they can talk to the dead and stuff.
Oh,
And they
okay.
do a lot of like.
And they're like,
I'm
okay,
getting
go.
An M
Yeah.
name. There's an M name. Something with either a Mike or a Marsha, or it's like they just keep going through things until someone finally goes, "Oh, that's me." Like, it's just you're trying anything until you can narrow the field down. So, and that's like, yeah, look up cold reading.
Okay.
It's a technique of these like pseudo, what's the word, spiritualists.
No, and it's about like intuition as well.
Yeah.
Right?
But like,
Like a mentalist.
yes,
Yeah.
it's all about knowing how to manipulate people's emotions when it comes to like you already know that your whole audience is coming to see someone, so they probably have a lost loved one that they're hoping that they can talk to.
Chances are there is somebody.
Yeah,
that will
exactly.
connect to
with an
someone
M
there.
name, right?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. So it has to do with like playing the odds.
Totally.
And yeah, look up cold reading.
Okay,
it's
I
like,
will.
It's some devious shit that made me start like second guessing that whole
Yeah.
fortune teller thing.
Okay.
But then.
My dad's already like cold read, sending me articles right now. Like, see? Stupid.
When my mom, I don't know, I should maybe have checked with her, but too bad, Mom. Oh
God.
It doesn't really matter. She went and got a reading from a psychic when I was a teenager, and this psychic, something that I think lended her a lot of credibility, is she allowed the session to be tape recorded.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. So I'm listening to it, and so I know what information my mom's giving this woman and what she's getting back.
Yes.
And she was saying some shit that there was no way she would have known.
Oh, I know.
Like, I was super impressed. So I think there's some legitimate people out
Yeah.
there that are kind of connected to something.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of hacks.
Yeah.
Totally, for sure.
In it for the money. Yeah.
Like when I give people readings, because I read tarot and I read palms, and I ask people immediately, don't tell me anything, don't talk, just relax.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't want to know.
Ah.
And whatever comes up is what comes up, and this is what I have to offer you. So do with it what you will. But I mean, I don't ask any leading questions for that reason, because then I believe that they would just question what I would tell them.
Yeah.
But like, I like tarot because to me it makes sense. There's a major arcana, there's a minor arcana, Everything has an upright meaning, everything has a reverse meaning. Like, it's methodical in its readings. And I mean, it's pretty accurate, actually.
Well, and sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying, yeah, generally,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I feel that it has to do a certain amount with, again, with belief and intent and energy and how much you buy into what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Kind of with any activity.
Yeah.
Because if there is any power there, then, I mean, I have the I Ching tattooed on my arm, and that's another system of fortune telling. I mean, I have it for, I'm going to out myself on the internet. I mean, some people know this is a pretty identifiable tattoo, but I also researched it before I put it on my body. It's the 63rd hexagram. It's this orientation, so it's water over fire, which stands for a balance of energy. These 3 lines represent water. These 3 lines represent fire. If you have too much water in a pot over a fire, it'll overflow and extinguish the fire. If you have too much fire, you're going to evaporate all the water, so you have to find a balance. Each line has a parable with it, all that kind of stuff. But I have it because I'm a nerd, and this is the tattoo that Storm Shadow has.
Vanity project.
Yep. Yes.
Well, whatever. But the knowledge of it also, when I researched it, I knew that I looked at all of the parables and finding the meaning from it in all those stories, and I wasn't going to put anything on my body that might have had some sort of bad connotations or bad negative emotions or negative connections to it, because I might have bought into that shit and I might have made something happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, forgot where I was going. I wanted to say something to you about. Oh, did you figure out Lala's
Okay,
sign?
I'm just gonna take a wild guess. Okay, I'll take a wild guess. I'm gonna say Capricorn.
No.
Okay.
All right.
That's all.
All right. One stab and you didn't keep going.
I don't want to make 10 guesses. Is it this? Is it this?
The 10th one, no.
Are you gonna guess?
Yeah, but I don't have the depth of knowledge because it's been a long time since.
Yeah.
Like when you were like, you're one of my things is a Libra. I went, I don't know what Libras are at all.
I got to guess. Moon unicorn.
Unicorn.
That's a sign,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Ryan is right.
Yeah. I mean, I'd take that. That's great.
That sounds just super
Wait.
cool. I'll take it.
Is your birthday April 18th?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I'm
the Bill Murray hack of the group.
Guess
I'm
it first.
No.
Okay.
What did you say?
We're in Brandon
Aries?
have the same
Oh,
birthday.
that was my second guess, actually.
Everyone should know this. Me and Brent have the same birthday.
I thought it was the 18th of April. I don't know why. COVID,
What
man.
is it?
These are irrelevant.
Assuming that I have everyone's birthday memorized.
I
Yes, because you're
should.
that
Yeah,
cool.
you should.
No, I barely know.
Trevor knows all, sees all.
Yeah, but birthdays aren't one of the things. You gotta prioritize the stuff you store in there, and that's not.
Limited capacity.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I go into the HR thing and creep people's birthdays.
Just so you can figure out what sign they are.
Yeah.
Oh
But I didn't see Lala. So.
It's past.
Deleting all my information right away.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, that's private. No.
It is.
We celebrate.
It's there.
We celebrate birthdays.
Birthdays rule.
You mentioned something because we did what's it called? The elements thing?
Insights.
Insights.
The Carl Jung based, yeah.
And those are personality tests based. I mean, you know more about me.
Yeah.
More about them than I do. You know what they are.
Yeah, it's based on Carl Jung's psychology, right, of attitudinal functions and your preferences for introversion, extroversion, a thinking and feeling decision-making function, and then the way you perceive the world, so through sensation or intuition. Trevor is an earth green energy. So when you were describing the nice Gemini, you were totally describing his earth green dominant energy, preferred energy, right? So yeah.
But my preferred energies.
Yeah.
I
It's all
looked
just
at-
energy
I
still.
I looked at this insights thing when I read that profile the same way that I look at horoscopes. And I really did. I was like, okay. I mean, this still feels kind of like this applies and this doesn't. I don't know. But it was earth green when that was
Less conscious and conscious persona, yeah.
well, it was less conscious and conscious, but also personal versus
It's like
work life.
yeah, it's
those
like
two different things.
when you're like being intentional about how you present yourself to the world
Yeah.
versus kind of more candid, comfortable, at ease, less pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we're
when
the
I
same in
was,
both.
how I present myself when I'm like active was blue,
Yeah.
which is all like logical.
Analytical
Yeah.
and detailed, concerned with being precise and right. Yeah.
Because you have a Taurus Mercury.
See?
Earth
And they're so, like when I used to do insights at my previous company, they would always be like, okay, after a session, like what's the intersection between insights and astrology? And I'm like, oh my God, don't get me
okay.
started.
Because
It's a can of wigglies.
feels like the same
It's like
thing.
it is similar. I would say it's like
Yep.
I just treat kind of astrology as a personality test.
Yeah.
So Mercury is how you communicate, how you learn things. Tauruses are very practical, methodological. They are persistent, can be a bit stubborn sometimes.
But I mean, who can't be?
Yeah, no, that's
it's-
fair. That's fair.
That's the crazy thing. And also, you've now listed 5 signs that apply to me.
I would say one of my more common critiques of astrology is that like none of it's bad.
Yeah.
None of it's like you're a Taurus, so you're kind of like an asshole, and you like ignore your mother on her birthday, and you like don't hold the door open for strangers. Because you know every person has good and bad to them. Life is life is good and bad, and astrology is all like positive traits.
There is bad.
Oh, they're bad.
There's lots of bad.
There's some fun stuff.
I just want to get deeper into it. Like I said,
Yeah.
there's a difference between like your daily horoscope in the newspaper
Right.
versus like the time of
depth.
day. Like you asked
Yeah.
for time of
Chart.
day,
Yeah.
and, like your full chart.
Yeah.
So I am curious to get into that because apparently you know.
Well, that was because I feel like all the like it determines how you might act in different circumstances, or depending like where you are, who you're talking with. It
Does
kind
it
of
account for age? Because like, or is it just like that same thing applies like front to back of your life story?
I
'Cause
would
I'm a different person than I was when I was 8 or 17 or now.
true.
Big time.
I would say the more you develop as a human, like if you're a developed sign, then you would probably be more mature. You'd embody more of the positive sides of your sign. But if you're a less developed person, like which has nothing to do with age, like you could be less developed even if you're like 80 years old, then you might embody more of the negative sides of your signs.
Interesting. Okay. I've never, this is the first time I've ever thought to think about age in correlation to anything to do with astrology. We got really heavy into astrology.
I know.
What else was I going to ask you guys? There was something I wanted to say. Oh, I did say that. It was, if it all comes down to energy, then is it any different to wish on a star or to pray to an unprovable god? But we already kind of got into that.
So it's like all those major things, like everything that's good about every single major religion, whether it be Buddhism or Christianity or anything else, Wiccanism. All the tenets are the same.
Yeah, they really are.
And at harm none, do what thou wilt.
Yeah.
You know? And you
True. It
manifest
boils
your
down to
destiny.
positive intent and positive energy.
So whether it's a spell or whether it's a prayer or whether it's a wish on the star, I mean, it all comes from the same place inside you. It can't be bad.
But it can be bad. Actually, yeah.
Can it?
You know, no. I'm just like, just thinking about the fact, like Ryan just mentioned the whole like negative thing, and we do tend to we focus on the positive aspects as much, especially to ourselves. Like everyone
Yeah,
is,
of course.
They're like everyone. I try to remember this when dealing with other people because I think it helps me understand other people. Is that everyone is the main character of their own story.
Yes.
So if you can try to keep that in mind and know that, like, also perception is a thing. So like, how you may perceive me, and then now you have more information, and you're using the astrology to try to figure out more things about people and how to communicate with them better. There's also only one version of you that's fully realized, and it's the version of you to yourself. And every single person you meet has their own version of you. So there's like, as many people as you meet, there's that many versions of you, which is a crazy thing.
And everyone is not only the main character, but everyone's the hero of their own story.
Yeah, main character, hero, and
They're never the antagonist.
no, you never think that I'm the villain. Well, I guess some people do think they're the villain, and then they embrace it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm the villain, but then I guess you have to figure out who the hero is.
Yeah.
And then try to kill them or something.
Take them down.
Oh my God, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, that
But I
does.
feel like we're sometimes like our own worst enemy as well, you know? Like, we can be so hard on ourselves, and I feel like a lot of the times no one else is being as hard on ourselves as us, you know?
Yeah.
We're definitely all our own worst
True.
critics.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So both the villain and the hero trying to kill each other. That's me, because I'm literally opposite signs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I'm a Pisces, but my moon and my rising are Virgo, which is literally the opposite of Pisces. So I feel like I've fought this internal battle like all my life until like most recently I've finally kind of come to terms with how to overcome this and
Oh, nice.
you know, calm the negative side.
Oh my God, when we do insights, you're going to be a creative type.
Virgos are
a lot of
awesome.
creative types here. Oh,
I love Virgos too.
I was like close to
Yeah, creative type.
like
yeah.
but creative sounds
It's-
good.
yeah.
Like you're a creative type, but no, it's
But
like
it's that
creative
opposition,
of-
the theory of opposition and the dissonance that it pulls. The closer you go into introversion, the further you are away from being extroverted. Right? It's just fact, and space and energy, right? So when you have dominant preferences that are in opposition, it's like, "Ugh," and I think that's what you're
My
describing.
mind. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
oh crap! What was I going to say just now? I don't know. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to get another drink.
Oh my God, me too. Oh my God, I couldn't believe
I'll be
it.
back.
So,
Anyways.
question for those on stage left.
Why didn't he just
like
get
this.
it from here?
Are there any superstitions that any of you sort of hold to in your daily lives? Like not stepping on cracks or passing under ladders? Like, do you go for that stuff? Are there any that like you particularly adhere to?
Definitely.
Superstition at all?
I mean, I always hold dear to the throwing salt over your left shoulder
Same.
when I spill any or when I use any, and that comes from my grandma, and I just never let it go because I think it was established early on in life so that it got ingrained.
Yeah.
And even when my kids said, like, what are you doing? I'm like, it's for the devil.
I think that's kind
Salt
of
on the
the thing
floor,
with like a
Mom.
lot of superstitions is that like it's not so much that like you actually believe that it's gonna give you luck or prevent bad spirits or whatever. It's a family tradition. It's
I have a
something
theory.
that like your grandma taught you and that you're like carrying down through generations. It probably means more to you as a connection with your family and your grandmother than
Exactly.
it does preventing evil or bad
I
spirits.
don't
or
think
whatever
that Satan is behind my left
Exactly.
shoulder. Most days.
But it reminds you of your grandmother, and
But
you
it
probably
does.
think of her when you do it, and so that reinforces that behavior.
Absolutely.
When Trevor asked me to do this show, I was thinking like, oh, superstition is like synonymous with my mother. Like growing up, it was every single thing. Don't walk under that ladder. Don't open your umbrella inside. Throw salt over your shoulder.
Oh,
if you
God.
drop a knife, a tall, dark, handsome man's gonna come to the door. There's periods
Where's
in
the
my life
knife?
where I'm like throwing knives. I'm like, this is lies. But anyways, you know, I was just like, but I have a theory about superstition, and I think it is. You know, it goes back to like our animal brains and our like seeking out pleasure and avoiding pain, right? Where it's like, yeah, it's part of this tradition in your family where someone teaches you something. And so when you spill salt, it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's a discomfort and you're like, the effort I have to exert to toss this salt over my shoulder is nothing compared to the like potential of the things you don't understand, right?
Definitely.
And
Like,
it's funny.
I still
because-
to
Totally.
this day throw salt over my shoulder.
and I knock on wood, and I
Yeah.
never open an umbrella indoors. Not that you would need to.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't even think about knocking on wood. I'll get to this in a second, but that's one that I do. That I was always like taught to like knock on wood if you see
Yeah.
a thing and that like don't make it happen. But this is weird. I've convinced myself of this. When I say a thing and I'm like, oh, knock on wood, I knock on my head. And I've been doing it for a really long time, and it makes me feel the same as when I used to knock on wood. That like that relief of like that superstition.
Yeah.
I just turned it into, and I do it every
Still
time
get the
now.
relief.
I haven't knocked on actual wood in years.
Wood around here? No.
Yeah, I know. I mean, no, this is
Oh, wow.
spoiler alert.
Magic.
This is marble.
I was going to say,
is
before
happening?
today's episode, Trevor asked me to research the sort of etymology or history of some common superstitions. And one that I found particularly fascinating was the opening an umbrella indoors thing, which
Yeah.
apparently comes to us care of the ancient Egyptians, who believed that umbrellas were royal and that the shade they provided was sacred, and so opening one indoors was considered an insult to the god of the sun.
Oh, hey.
Great.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How often does it rain in Egypt?
I mean,
Well, they didn't
that would
use
be
it for
an
rain.
event.
They used it for shade.
So it's more like
Yeah, so like if you if you opened a umbrella indoors, you were like offending Ra, and Ra was the chief deity in the pantheon of Egyptian gods.
Oh, yeah,
You
the
wouldn't
sun
do that.
god. He's in
And then I'm
charge.
sure once the Ptolemaic Greeks came to Egypt and learned their traditions, then they brought that back to Greece, and then it spread throughout the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
I bet you they all have really fascinating origins.
They do.
But like
I wonder.
umbrellas, that's surprising because umbrellas seem like a relatively new thing. Like,
Yeah.
as in, like, but they're not. They're seemingly very old.
Thousands of years old.
Yeah, thousands.
Like not walking under a ladder, you know, a million years ago, whenever that would have happened, you know, like, whereas like it made sense. It's like, yeah, like Gustavo is gonna fall through the ladder and kill you.
Or drop
Don't
a
walk
brick on
under
your
it.
head.
Yeah.
Or yeah, drop a brick that he's like putting on a wall with nothing, you know.
Bad space. But like, why breaking a mirror gives you 7 years bad luck?
Oh, because they believed your spirit
Shattered?
was the reflection that you saw.
Yeah.
And so when you, it was like breaking your soul.
Yeah,
When you
your
broke
soul
the
would be
mirror.
breaking.
You know what I still look for? I sometimes one mirror I find it rare, but you know when you're in like a space between mirrors,
Oh my
and then you can see like sort of there's like a curve to it, and there's like an infinite number
Yes.
of reflections.
It's a reflection of a reflection of a reflection.
I'm always waiting for like I do things and I wait to see if
God.
there's a delay of one that's like just a little off, and it's like aha! Like I know it. I feel like it's gonna happen.
I just do it. Like since a kid in the 90s when all of the bathroom mirrors were 3 and I would just like fold them in
Yeah,
and go in
and
the
then, like-
middle and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what's happening? And I would wait too. I thought something would come out of there
I
at some
swear.
point.
I wonder if the
Who hasn't played Bloody Mary?
Oh, I've done that when I was
I was
younger.
terrified of that game as a child.
Oh, I don't
there
like
was, There
it.
was a period of like a couple years in elementary school where like I couldn't go into a darkened bathroom. Like,
Wow, see.
Yeah.
I can't.
Freaky AF.
I just don't like dark.
I guess a more
Mirrors are
interesting layer to that is who's played Bloody Mary and had something else happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, please share.
No. We're not talking about supernatural. We're talking
Are we
about
not? Are we?
you can't say that and not tell that story, Trevor.
Well, I mean, we're right toward the end of the show.
you got 2 minutes.
Ah.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
we'll do this another time. We're definitely
Okay.
going to do another episode where we get more into.
I'm gonna remember that.
It's a matter of like I got to be mindful of the people. You can't pressure people on like tell your crazy stories to the internet because the internet can be judgy.
I mean, that's fair.
And yeah, I guess that comes down to the same thing as like what I was saying earlier with belief and how certain pathways of belief are way more widely accepted because the number of people in it, be that a religion or even, I don't know, what's the difference between a religion and a cult? The guy who's the head of a cult is still alive versus the head of a religion is long dead. It seems to be almost a standard. But I guess it also comes down to power and numbers. But okay, I wanted to ask the panel, do you think or believe, but believe's a strong word, that belief in something makes it either more real or real, and that the more power from more people believing in the same thing perhaps makes it real?
Yes, I think so.
yeah.
Like the collective consciousness of
And the power of suggestion
Yeah.
and like-mindedness gives
Yeah.
people comfort.
I think so, because it's kind of like when you step into a room and you just sense like if there's a negative energy, you know, if people are feeling stressed out or whatever it may be, I feel like it's contagious, you know, like if you're around a negative person, you're going to feel negative. But then if you're like around someone who is positive, then it's going to help you be better. So I would say yes, in a short answer.
Yeah, there's been a couple of moments in life when I have felt the energy of crowds as tangible things. And one of them was the Olympics in Vancouver, where I felt pure positivity from random strangers. And it didn't matter where I was downtown, I was just happy. Like it was the only time I've ever felt that, and it's not that I haven't been in other large crowds where, like, I've been in like crazy music festivals where there is a lot of positivity and stuff, but the Olympic like spirit is it's been around for a really long time, and I think that people believe in it by this time. Like, but since its inception, we've continued this tradition as a planet. Like, that's one of the only thing that unifies us across religion, across country boundaries. We all participate in this one thing. It's something where we've always laid arms down during. Like, the Olympics has an insane power that we don't talk about much. We focus too much on the sport aspect of it. But there's a unification of humans during the Olympics that was amazing. And 1 year later, we had a riot in Vancouver because of the Stanley Cup. And that was the other time when I felt a tangible energy. I was downtown.
That is tangible, yeah.
It wasn't necessarily negative, it was chaotic.
It was like groupthink.
It was like,
It's frightening.
it was primal, and it was, I wasn't rioting, I was just there. In fact, I was actually at ground zero, and after the second period in the game, I turned to my buddy and said, "We should get the hell out of here." And we did. We got out of the big giant screens outside. We took off. And there was a really cool display of something there because it started to get rowdy, and everybody in this one section where we were standing sat cross-legged on the ground. And I was like, whoa, like they just people were tearing down fences and stuff, and everyone else was like, no. And just and then that area was quiet, and that's when I said, we should leave.
Yeah. We're in the eye of the storm. Let's go.
But once there was cars on fire and cops launching tear gas, I felt this primal, just kind of energy going on amongst the crowd.
Like a pack mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was.
You just want to belong.
And we very much do. And it didn't feel like it took anyone saying anything at all. It was just there, and it was very real and very present, and I could see it in everyone. I jumped up on a bench one time just to observe the crowd, and I was like, "This is wild!" But it felt like the antithesis of that Olympic spirit.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Be a Leafs fan. You can sit on the floor cross-legged for your whole existence. It's good. It's good. Just meditate and chill. Next year.
I checked out of hockey after that riot, though. For my home team to lose Game 7 twice in my lifetime, I was just like, I think I'm done with this. I'm done finding validation of self in the athletic achievements of others.
Yeah. Word.
I was done.
Fair.
Last chance to say anything you wanted to on any of the topics?
All I wanted to say is that like I was saying, I was seeing 444 since February, which is when I made the decision that I was going to kind of honor my boundaries and fill my soul with something that was meaningful. I ended up with a job here a month later, and it was just like this. It was everywhere. Nonstop. Every time I looked at the clock, every time I turned the radio station, 444, all the time. And apparently it is a reassurance that you're on the right path.
444?
Yeah.
Interesting. That very
Some
much depends
cultures,
on the cultures.
Yes, some cultures have the quadrophobia.
We have a lot of places that don't
My building
have
has
a
no
fourth
fours, remember?
floor.
Yeah. No 4, no 14, no 24. But,
yeah.
But it was very significant to me. I found y'all, and I found this, and I found a once in a lifetime kind of partner, and all because a lot of it because of you. So I just think, and those messages haven't stopped. So I just think it's really cool to see the 4s, and whether I'm looking for them or not, I don't even care, because it just makes me feel like I am on the right path. And it's supposed to be
Ooh,
No, sorry. I've been seeing 444 a lot, or I see 222 a lot, or 1234, which I feel like is all kind of similar, protective energy. You're on the right track, and
So on the right track thing, I had something I liked, and I heard it years ago from a co-star in a horror movie, of all places. But he said, "Deja vu is the soul's recognition that you're on the right path."
Ooh. Sounds right.
Yeah,
right?
I believe it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I choose to accept that.
I like it.
I like it. I think all of what we talked about,
Yeah.
it's I choose the things that are self-serving, and then I'm like, if it doesn't feel good or it's nasty, I'm like, yeah, that's fake. I don't care. Next.
You don't need that in your life.
But I feel like that's how we could all live our lives like that, right? I feel like it's about picking and choosing what works for you, and everyone is different. So it's okay for you to disagree with someone, or if someone else disagrees, that's totally fine.
I think it's picking and choosing what works for you and not judging others for
Yes.
disagreeing.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
the biggest
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
And take
I
it
don't
easy
know
on the
if we're gonna be
Geminis, right?
Don't hate on the Geminis, they're not all bad.
I really don't.
I feel like air signs generally get a lot of hate. I don't know. But you're a nice Gemini.
You're one of the good ones.
It's
Who are
okay.
these Geminis wronging people?
Oh, don't go.
Hitler was, Hitler
all
was
of
a
you
Gemini,
Geminis out there
Trump
giving
was a
me-
Gemini.
What?
Hitler was a Gemini. Trump
Was
was a
he?
Gemini.
I think Kanye is
Genghis
too.
Khan was a Gemini.
Kanye.
Are you making this up?
Genghis Khan, Kanye.
You're making
yeah,
this
I'm making all this up.
Okay, you dick. All right, well,
that was awesome.
on that note, to all you Geminis out there that are ruining the world and ruining my reputation, stop.
Cut it out.
Stop it.
And thank you guys for joining us. Tune in. I should have written down what's coming up next. What is coming up next? You know what? Stay tuned. Like, subscribe to the channel, and you're going to get notifications if you ring the bell, and then you'll know what's coming out. We had a lot of stuff. We hit our 70th video this week. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you for sure next week on Friday for Filthy Talk, and there'll be other stuff released next week, and I don't remember what it is, so stay filthy.